Okay, this video is kind of a side issue. You don't need to see this, but I think it's quite instructive. Last video I made took me 3 goes. I had a bug. What I had done was this J loop here. I had lazily missed out the condition, so I'd forgotten to put J is less than D, and I just had this as my condition. Okay, so this is the bug I'd made, and it's an easy mistake to make. I like to kid myself, but the consequences are quite terrifying. So let's see what happens when I try and run this program. So I reload, and it seems to have worked. Perhaps I didn't save. Let's write it out, and I reload. Okay, that's more like what I was looking at. Okay, so what's happened is JavaScript is stuck in an infinite loop, and this becomes completely unresponsive. Okay, so what's happening now is that Java, there's only really one thread going on here, and I can't really do anything much. If I try to look at domjq6, it looks as if that's empty. Nothing's happening. My debugging's not working. I can't see anything. I think I can do stuff on the console. Yep, nope. I press enter and there's no response. So nothing's happening. What's happened is that we're stuck in this tight loop here. This loop is never going to complete. And so Chrome is just going round and round in this loop. It's never going to escape because this is a number and it will always evaluate to true. And so this loop will never complete. Basically what it's doing is just putting thousands and thousands of TDs over and over again, the same. I guess it's running out of space eventually, but it's just filling up. It's making a huge, great table here, and nothing much is happening. I can't stop it. I can't debug it. I can't do anything. So what do I do? Okay, under those circumstances, it looks like nothing's loaded. I don't have access to my debugging stuff. I could try and stop it running. Don't know if we've got something here. Can't see any way of forcing JavaScript to pause. Oh, there's a pause button. Pause on exception, but it's not going to hit any exceptions. Just pause, that might work. Click on that. Chances are it'll take some time to recover. But really such a mess. It's built up a huge data structure, it's built up a huge table that Chrome just isn't coping anymore. It says debugger paused in the middle of a call stack. Maybe I can my way out. So I'm deep in jQuery code here. Oh, looks like Chrome. Okay, that's the error. Okay, so Chrome ran out of memory while trying to display the web page. It had built up a huge table. We don't know how big the table was, but basically I ran out of pretty much everything. Okay, so what do? I can close that down. I can start up a new page. I can type in the address again. That was DOM. But I'll really be back in the same situation if I do that. So reload that, and it looks like it's just kind of frozen. Again, I'm back in the same situation. It's really difficult to figure out what's going on. I can probably get the debugger going, but everything takes a long time. Everything goes slowly. I can pause. I click on pause. Yep, I've clicked on pause and it's thinking about it. It's already built up a table with thousands of rows, thousands of columns in it, presumably, and it'll be desperately trying to display that at the minute. So this is trying to catch up and display the enormous table that I've just created. What's happening here? Don't pause on exceptions. I think it's in the process of pausing. But I guess I don't really have a solution. There's not much you can do to debug an error like that. You've just got to make sure you don't do it. And this behavior, particularly that sad face that Chrome displays, that's when JavaScript goes wrong. When JavaScript goes wrong, it's quite terrifying because none of your JavaScript functions should take very long. They should all complete as quickly as possible. You just have to figure out where it was. There are some difficulties. It's difficult even to start the thing with debugging on, so you can line step through. I guess you just have to find the error and fix it, which I did eventually. I think this thing is still thinking. Yep. Things that I might do, I might, for example, if I suspected this was where the error was, I might put in a debug message here, console.log in a loop. So if I had a suspicion that this was where the error was, I might put in a debug message like that and write it out. And if Chrome has recovered enough, then I can reload. No, it's not reloading. The thing is, it's just everything takes a long time because of that bug. And it's, I don't know, I said it would be instructive. It's not like I've got much advice for you. If you write a program with a bug like that, you've just got to figure out where your error is, go back to the last version that worked, because your browser is now not your friend anymore. This browser is tied up, it's not doing anything, it's not responding. It looks like it is, but it isn't. Closing the page, even closing the page takes a long time. So I clicked on close there, and I don't think that's going to close until it, there we go, we got the error. Okay, so let's send feedback to Chrome, to Google. That was my error. Let's have a see. The trouble is, it's so hard to figure out what's going on, even getting the debugger up, kind of, even if you do it really fast. Where's the console? No, it's not even outputting to the console, so that debug message I gave it isn't happening. Just don't do that. Don't have a broken loop like that. Let me try and close this and fix that. That should be j is less than, and write it out. So if your browser starts behaving badly and you see that snap error message, it's almost certainly your fault, and it's because you've got a loop that doesn't complete and you're consuming everyone's resources. Wonder if we can see that. I'm holding down Shift and Control and pressing Escape to bring up my Windows task, and even that's behaving badly. Yeah. Can you see the CPU usage is just going crazy? That's all JavaScript. If I try and close this, and the CPU usage comes right down and it's calmed down. Phew. The stress when it's running at that full. The other thing that happens is when the CPU is running that hard, it often kills my video that I'm making this videos on, so that's bad news. Let's just reload, just because it's so horrible. I put the error in, the error is not there, so I should be back. So that's 40. Nope, didn't want that one. I wanted DOM. Okay, that's working fine. Reload it. Let's look at the CPU usage. And I'm going to put the error back in again. XX, write that out, and do a reload. And we'll see the CPU usage going through the roof again. Okay, it's not doing it yet. Okay, it gets worse the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. It's running around, and then when I try and stop it, that's when it starts trying to display the page. So by now, we've got several thousand columns in our table. We've got a massive table. If I try and stop now by getting up the debugger and hitting a pause, I've forgotten how to do that, sources, and then hit pause. So that's the stage at which I start to try and debug that it's going to try and display this, and the CPU usage goes higher and higher. That's a terrible situation, and we want it not to occur. I'm going to take it out, put my correct code back in, j is less than, so that that loop can terminate. Make sure your loops terminate. Okay, next video we'll talk about what happens when you click on a button and try and get that working.